I'll never know. If you're gonna leave, I'ma let you go. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired of yesterday. I fell where my demons dwell, my own little nightmare, I call it hell. Oh well, it's time to get back up, climbing and climbing. I'm done with this ride, is what I tell myself, so I could feel something else. Yeah, I guess I had my bad days, but it doesn't mean I lost my styling. Where were you when my heart was on the ground? I thought time would prove that you would stick around. I guess time stood still, a king without his crown. Now I'm breaking and you're faking, girl. You never made a sound. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired yesterday.
Okay. Hello guys. Hi Ranish player. You're number 1. Pure Peach Pie. Mark Rovira. Pirate Cervantes. Fluorite. And hello. Evil Rabbits. Whatever your name is. Hello. Squashy Panda. Mas Salamat. Oh sorry. Mas Polang 22. Tess. How are you guys? Sorry, I think it's a bit too loud. So this whole stream, right, is going to be very technical and dry because it's all about troops mechanics. And as promised before, right, one of Mark River had posted this question about why certain troops in a lineup, right, when you attack, especially in darkness, why is that so? Like this certain range feelings or range wedge is hitting into different kind of squads but not hitting into a certain other kind of squads and stuff like this. So today I'm going to address all about squad, about battle mechanics. So if you're not into mechanics and more about lecture about understanding what happened behind the scenes of how troops attack each other and how IGGs make it such that, let's say after the war drop, how it actually decide on where to hit, then I suggest you move to other channels, because this next 15 minutes or so is going to be very dry. It's not going to be interesting, to be honest. The point of this stream is just to address one of the questions posted by you. Okay? So, let's dive into this. So the question by Mark Rovira is this. Let me just show a short playback of what is it. What is that video? Wait, do I have the video? Ah, I found it. Okay, this. You guys can see this, right? So, this is a short video about darkness. You guys watch this darkness and I'll briefly explain behind the scene of troop mechanics. Okay, so just watch the battle first, then I will go into more details about that. Seems very normal, right? It's very normal kind of darkness. Everything seems normal. Setting full range against a darkness that has three different kind of mixed troops. So you won. It's a SN20. So in short, there are two questions posted by him, and actually it's quite interesting in the sense that a lot of people will wonder why is that so. Okay, first thing first, let's talk about the facts. It's a level 20 dark essence, SN20 dark essence, alright, and the attacker, which is us, as in the darkness is in range feelings, and we actually attack in cavalry feelings. This is the facts that we know. Okay, now the thing is this. You know, in typical darkness, right? Even for darkness, be it darkness or real rally, this is actually what happened behind the scenes. A lot of times no one know what happened and you just take it as it is. Just say, okay, it's random, mechanics work this way or that way. But actually everything that happened over here, right, is justified by mechanics. I'm not too sure whether people know about this, but if you know, it's good for you. But if you don't know, I briefly explain why is that so. Okay, so you send full range with buffer, correct? And this is what happened. You hit into the range feelings expected, but you only hit half of the range feelings, and the remaining damage is hit into the cavalry. So this posted two questions. Okay. So the question is, why, despite having so much infantry in this, we are still able to win the darkness? It's very simple. Still remember I mentioned about darkness, right? As long as you are able to achieve the objective, which is to die, to have lesser troops losses as compared to darkness, just one troop lesser in terms of your losses, right? It means you're going to win this. So it means something. It means Essence 20, right, is actually not a very difficult darkness. As long as the essence is lesser than 23, right, even you're hitting against a counter, right, there's a still chance, a high chance that you can win, as long as your gears is okay, and you're hitting, you are hitting towards a non-counter. Even if there's so many 1.3 million of heroic fighters inside there, right, as long as you're hitting into a non-counter, you're gonna win, because it's all about two different things. You losing troops, how fast is it, as compared to the darkness losing troops, how fast it is. Although you are being countered, but the fact that you're actually hitting into cavalry, the troops that's lost for the darkness is actually faster than you. So in that sense, it doesn't make a difference. So it's not really a question, because this is how darkness work. Okay, as long as you are able to drop down the darkness faster than how the darkness hit into you, right, you're gonna win them. So next thing is, this is a part that a lot of people not too sure. Why is the case of the range, right, hit only halfway of the cannons over here? And because if you notice, right, I already said before, the facts of the case is this. Okay, cavalry feelings versus range feelings. So you know this, cavalry feelings versus range feelings. Cavalry feelings, right, we actually send cavalry feelings. So cavalry feelings is effective like a range wedge, right? Something like a range wedge, because you're sending majority range troops in this cavalry feelings. It means after this cavalry drop down, right, your squads in this will be in this formation, 2-line formation. And 2-line formation, just bear in mind, 2-line formation, it's not a straight line formation, and you're hitting into a range feelings. And the range feelings is 4 squads in front, right? But you must know of something. 2-line formation hitting into the 2-line formation hit into a 4-line formation. What is the result? The result is very simple. It will decimate. 2-line formation will always hit into 2 squads. That is the rule. 4-line formation will always hit into the 4 squad. Okay, so this means that after the enemy 2 squads over here drop, right, it will randomly hit into the next 2 squads. I'm not sure whether I confuse you guys, but let me just put down in words. I've gone through this already. Wait, let me just briefly explain. I've gone through this. I've gone through the facts of the darkness, which is full range with cavalry feelings against mixed darkness with range feelings. This applies for all kind of rallies, even darkness. Okay, that is how IGG mechanics works. So the main part is how troops decide who to hit. It's actually about 3 different things. Never mind. Replay the video. Next time, you'll slowly understand what I meant. So, how troops decide who to hit. It's like after you clear off like a single range troops, the squads, right? Why is that? Like you aim another one. The rule is this. IGG mechanics is that it will lock once the target is dropped down, right? The rule is it will lock onto the next squad, which is within attacking range. Which means Do I have a pen or something? Okay. Let's take this for example. No. Okay, Mark Rovira, let me just address your question because this is going to be very easy for me to explain. You know, for this thing, right? Enemy is range feelings, right? You know, range feeling is like this. Infantry is in front, right? Cavalry is behind. So logically speaking, we will say that since range dropped down, right, the next in line will be infantry. But actually, that is not the case, because mechanics is such that it will lock onto the next squad which is within attacking range. Within attacking range. Because if you look at this case, right, in your video, right, where is it? Within attacking range. So after the wall is breached, after the two squads is dead, right, you must know something. At this juncture, two squads are dead. So IGG mechanics is what? It will lock, for the ranged units, right, it will lock onto the next two squads randomly, which are within its range. So it can actually hit into where? Either the 4 squads of infantry or the 4 squads of cavalry. That is the rule. So for this case, right, it so happened that it actually hit out of the 8 squads, 4 infantry squad, 4 cavalry squad, which are within the range, correct? It hit into randomly 2, which is the case of the 2 cavalry squads. After the 2 cavalry squads is down, IGG mechanics run again, roll the dice again, and it will hit into randomly another 2 squads, which so happened the case of 2 random cavalry squads again. I will justify it in another example so that you will briefly understand what I mean. Yes, it is actually random. Random on this virtue. Lock onto the next squad which is within attacking range. Because after the 2 range squads are dropped, right, are dead. After the 2 darkness range squads are dead, the available squads will be 4 squads of infantry and 4 squads of cavalry. Correct? So there will be a total of 8 squads for our range to randomly target. So there's 8 squads. So out of the 8 squads, the mechanics roll the dice and they actually aim into the 2 cavalry squads. So after the 2 cavalry squads are down, it left with 4 squads of infantry, 4 squads of inf, and 2 squads of cav. For this very particular case, right, it rolled the dice again and it actually hit into the cav squads again. So you might be thinking back of mind, why isn't that hitting into infantry? This is actually how IGG mechanics works. I will explain in another context so that you understand what I meant. So when you see the results over here, right, you notice all the hero cannons survive. Ancient Drug Riders are actually decimated all the way to like 80 or to 90%. It's completely logical. It's completely within the IGG mechanics. Let me show you another example why I say it's random. You know, okay, Fluoride, your question about why 2 squads and not 4 squads. Still remember at the start, I mentioned this? I mentioned about this thing. Two-line attacker versus a 4-line attacker. Okay? 2-line attacker, 2-line, let's say you range, right? It's a 2-line attack versus a 4-line attack. The difference is whenever you are a 2-line attacker, right, you will actually hit in 2 squads. 2 squads. It's always in this manner. It actually follow a line vision of attack. Okay, so for your case, for this darkness case, right, you are actually attacking in cavalry feelings, right? So after all the cavalry is dead, right, this is actually 2-line attacking. 2-line attacking is attacking into 2 squads at each time. Okay, now comes a very and I managed to find an example to further explain this, to justify my case. You know, being an auditor, right, I can't really say and make you guys accept as what it is. I'll try to find example and context to justify my case. Look at this. I managed to find a darkness. Let me show you. This darkness is very similar to your darkness. It's not so simple to understand. Can you see this? This darkness is very similar to your darkness, whereby I'm sending full range, but with some buffer of cavalry as well as infantry, and I also attack 2 squads of range, right? Correct? 2 squads of range. And after the 2 squads of range are dead, right? That is when, take note, so remember what I mentioned, that is when IGG mechanics starts to roll the dice. It will randomly attack the next nearest 2 squads that's within attacking range, which is the 8 squads. 4 infantry squads, 4 cavalry squads. This time round, it actually rolled the dice and it rolled to the infantry squads. Let me show you. This is my another darkness. It's going to show that it's actually the case of IGN mechanics. Okay, first of all, range feelings, so it's same thing. And infantry wedge is very similar to cavalry feelings, because it's 2-line attack versus a range feelings, which is the same darkness that we actually comparing just now. And it's exactly the same kind of breakdown. It's just that there's more range inside here. Okay, so now comes the case. After the 2 squads are drop dead, which is the heroic cannons over here, after the 2 squads drop, which is 1.4 million, right? So 1.464 million, right? You divide by 2, so around 732k is dead. That is when the 2-line attack actually drop down to 2 darkness, right? Look at this. Look at this. Same losses, right? 7320. So after the 2 squads, 4 squads, right? 2 squads dead, which is 732,000. That is when IGG mechanics will come into play. It will roll the dice, and the range, the remaining range, will actually hit into the nearest, the next 2 random squads that are within attacking range. So in total, there are actually 8 squads that are within attacking range right after these two range squads were dead. So the 8 squads are the 4 squads of heroic fighters and the 4 squads of ancient riders. For this time round, it actually randomly hit into the next 2 squads of heroic fighters, and that is how IGG mechanics works. It's not about closest per se, and it's not about saying inf is in front of what is what. No, it's not the case at all. You cannot always say that since the darkness is range feelings, right? After range is dead, by default you should hit into infantry. That is not the case. Come on, that is not the case. The IGG mechanics is very clear. Lock. I think it will take some time for you to fully understand what this means. Lock will lock down onto the next squad which is within attacking range. And if there's more than one squad available to hit, right, it will hit, randomly select one squad to hit into it. So depending on the lineup, right, for the case of a wedge or the lineup that's like this, right, you actually hit into 2. But let's say the lineup is actually 4, which is like a range feelings, and you're sending range, right, you hit all 4 squads at the same time. What's surprising me is that the 1.3 million of infantry make almost no damage, so means that the low level damage make the infantry have low damage. Yes, you know, I already mentioned this. Let's talk about the facts of the case. First of all, it's a SN20. You know, for SN20, right, SN20 is not really a difficult essence. Even if there's a lot of counter, right, it doesn't mean that you guarantee you'll lose. The main thing is you have to achieve the objective of the darkness. Objective of the darkness is you have to queue faster than the darkness. You have to queue faster than darkness, which means your range is actually attacking the cavalry, right, versus the darkness infantry hitting into a range. As long as your damage is faster, your queues is faster than the darkness, you still can win, even if you are actually against a lot of counter. That's the main point of it. And that, not to say it's actually SN20, so it's not like, it's so damn difficult. No, as long as you are hitting towards a counter versus them hitting the counter, if you actually drop them down faster than how the darkness drop you down, you will win this. I think it will take at least 1-2 days or 1 month for some of you to fully understand the concept of mechanics. Actually, it took me quite a while, but that is how actually IGG mechanics works. It applies for all the different kind of rallies, be it darkness, be it Wonder Wars, be it I think there's a lot of other example. Be it Sky 29 hitting into don't know who, it's all the same. Be it X Lobby tanking the troops. Wait, let me find a better another example. So same applies to any other things. Even infantry wedge into the cavalry feelings, and oh shit, battle replay has expired, too bad. I can't really show anything. So okay. So that is how mechanics works. I don't know what else can I explain further to let you guys further understand what it means by all this. Take some time to read and understand what exactly is locked onto the next squad, which is within attacking range. This is the key concept. So as you can see from here, right, the case of this video, for the case of this video that is shared by Mark Rivera, after the darkness, after the 2 squads is drop dead, right? Okay, this is the point when the 2 squads are drop dead, and that is when there's 8 squads, and actually the range actually hit into 2 random squads, and for this case, it hit into the cavalry squads. Okay. That's the reason why we will have these losses over here. Correct? The cavalry losses over here. But for my case of my darkness over here, it's different. Everything remained the same, but this time round, it hit into the infantry squads. So after the 2 squads of the heroic cannons drop dead, right, you run the random again. And now, out of the 8 squads, it hit into 2 infantry squads. That is how it goes. Because all the 8 squads are within attacking range, and it will apply into the infantry portion. If you don't believe, run the same darkness again and again, especially a darkness that as you manage to push to this, clear off the first 2 lines of range squads. Run it 100 times. You notice the results is going to be very similar. If you guys run 100 times, you do your own testing, and you bet to differ, right? Come back to me and show me the video. Okay? Okay, I guess I have already explained a lot of this thing. And it's like 12 AM. I shall not go into much more details after all, because this is just to address one of the questions. And Mark Rivera, you are my patron, so I will hold on to my promise of, as long as you have questions or any of those that actually make requests for me to discuss about something, right, I will briefly explain to the best of my knowledge. So last question by this guy. Any chance you know which one was the video you explained about Trickster being a go hero? Is okay in the full range attack, please. Thank you for anyway for teaching me. Okay, so this video is actually called how squad damage testing. So you just Google, wait, let me see. Squad, how important is squad damage? How important is squad damage? I found it. So this is the link. So if you defend on a wedge following these mechanics, you know what first 2 squads you will hit. If you know the formation, then you'll beat those 2 squads. You never know what will come. Yup, partly true. Did Ice quit spending on the game? No, as what I understand, right, he's capable to push all the way to Mythic. So it's a matter of time of when he want to push it. Okay, so thank you guys for tuning in for the past 32 minutes of dry lecture mechanics talk, right? Some of you will be bored because I didn't show any rallies, but hopefully some of you will take off and learn something out of Lord's Mobile mechanics. Okay? By the way, always ehi pasico. So it means always investigate. So don't always take my words as it is. You should always run your own tests and verify what I said to actually have a better understanding. So even if I'm the one to say this is the case, you on your hand, right, do your part and run some research, run some back testing, and see whether what I say is correct. I leave it up to you to decide what I say is accurate or not. Okay? So thank you guys, and all the best. It's 12:22 AM in Singapore, and I have to get some rest because I have to wake up very early tomorrow. Okay? Goodbye. Good luck, guys.